And I call the member for Hughes.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Since the end of World War II, it's approximately 8 million people have migrated to Australia. And they've done so for many reasons. They've done to escape poverty. They've done for peace and security. They've done so for the economic opportunities that Australia provides. They've done so for our beautiful weather, our climate, our way of life. But most of all, those people that have migrated to Australia have done so for freedom. Freedom has been above all those other reasons about why people have migrated to Australia, to ensure that they and their children do not have to tolerate some of the totalitarian regimes where they've come from. And therefore, where freedom is threatened in Australia, it should be the multicultural groups in our country that are first to rally to freedom's defence. And what we've seen recently with the Australian Human Rights Commission, the decisions that they have made, the actions that they have taken, the conduct that they have engaged in, we have seen a bureaucracy that is simply drunk with power. Power given to them by the provisions in 18C. We should not have in this country the fact that a cartoonist is called before a government bureaucracy to explain himself. We should not have the 18C shakedown where young students that are denied access to a computer lab because of their race and ethnic identity, and then raise this as an issue and accuse the university of promoting segregation with segregation, hauled before the courts of this country. When that happens, it should be the ethnic groups of this country that stand up and say, this is wrong, this is an erosion of our freedom. And that's why, Madam Deputy Speaker, why the government is making very, very modest changes to 18C of the Racial Discrimination Act. But what I find appalling, and what this motion calls for, to condemn those that actively seek to incite division. Madam Deputy Speaker, I hate to say it, but it is the Labor Party's conduct. It is the Labor Party, we just heard from the opposition, member from the opposition there, saying that those that want to incite change 18C are somehow inciting racial tolerance. I say it as the other way around. I say it as those that are making those comments that are in fact the ones inciting racial intolerance in this nation. We should all be able to get together as a parliament and say what happened to the artist Bill Leak should never, ever happen again in this country. Surely that is something we can all be united on, but instead the Labor Party are using that as an opportunity to play divisive ethnic politics. And this is contrary, Madam Deputy Speaker, to everything that our country stands for. The changes to 18C are modest, they are needed because of the examples of the Bill Leak and the QUT students case. Now, Madam Deputy Speaker, when it comes to multicultural, we have been a very successful nation over many, many years. Probably the most successful multicultural nation anywhere in the world. But there are problems starting to occur. Where we see ethnic crime gangs and the crime increase in Victoria, we need to admit that there are problems starting to occur. When we see young Australians brought up in this country going to fight for the Islamic State in Syria and Iraq and take up arms against Australian troops, we need to see that there are problems occurring. When we see issues of forced marriage, when we see the subjugation of women, where we see people saying it's okay to refuse to shake hands with a woman. Madam Deputy Speaker, these are creaks in the wonderful multicultural society we have. And rather than ignore these issues, rather than bury our head in the sand and say there is no problem, it is up to responsible members of this parliament on both sides to say that there is an issue, to say we need to concentrate on the things that unite us rather than the things that divide us. Because if we don't, Madam Deputy Speaker, if we don't call these things out, There'll be other politicians that will come into this place that will say far, far, far more radical things, and they'll be the ones
Members,
attracting popular support.
Time has expired.